Tanya stood at the bus stop, the chill of the early evening air wrapping around her like an unwelcome embrace. She glanced at her watch, the second hand ticking away the seconds with a relentless rhythm. The flight bus was delayed 10 minutes, but she was grateful for that small mercy. It meant she had time to catch it. She had only recently moved back to the village house she inherited from her aunt, and the familiarity of the place felt both comforting and haunting. After her aunt's passing, Tanya had tried to carve out a new life in the city, working long hours at a call center. The pay was meager, and the stress was suffocating. When she quit, she felt a sense of liberation, but the reality of her situation soon set in. The garment factory job she found was grueling but paid slightly better. Each day, she toiled among the hum of sewing machines, the smell of fabric and sweat mingling in the air. It was exhausting, but at least it was honest work. As she waited for the bus, she thought of the village house, its creaking floorboards, the overgrown garden, and the memories that lingered in every corner. She had come back, determined to find peace, but the solitude often weighed heavily on her. She missed the connection she once had with her aunt, the warmth of shared laughter and stories. Finally, the bus rounded the corner, its headlights cutting through the twilight. Tanya stepped aboard, grateful to be heading home. The bus rattled along the familiar route, and as the landscape blurred past, she felt a sense of comfort. But that comfort was short-lived. Just a few stops from her destination, the bus lurched violently, and the driver, Myries, cursed under his breath. "Hold on, everyone, we've got a flat," he announced, his voice steady despite the chaos. The passengers groaned, but Tanya felt a strange sense of anticipation. She had seen Myries before. He was a sturdy man with a kind face, often joking with the regulars. She watched as he pulled the bus to the side of the road and exited to change the tire. Minutes passed, and the darkness deepened. Tanya peered out the window, her heart racing as she noticed movement in the trees. A howl pierced the stillness, sending a shiver down her spine. The other passengers were becoming restless, whispering nervously among themselves. Tanya's gaze was fixed outside, where shadows danced in the underbrush. Then, out of the trees, a pack of wolves emerged, their eyes glinting like shards of glass in the dim light. Myries stood frozen, the tire iron clutched in his hand. The howling intensified, a haunting symphony that sent a wave of fear rippling through the bus. Suddenly, one wolf broke from the pack, its gait purposeful and determined. It approached Myries, who was still rooted in place, and then, to Tanya's astonishment, it led him away from the bus, deeper into the woods. The passengers gasped, but Tanya felt an inexplicable pull to follow. She stepped off the bus, her heart pounding in her chest. As she ventured into the darkness, she caught sight of Myries kneeling by a tree. There, huddled against the trunk, was a she-wolf, her fur matted and her eyes filled with fear. Myries reached out slowly, and to Tanya's surprise, the wolf didn't flee. Instead, she leaned into his touch, a soft whimper escaping her lips. Tanya watched, her breath catching in her throat. The connection between the man and the wolf was palpable, a moment of pure empathy that transcended fear. Myries gently coaxed the she-wolf, and after a few tense moments, he managed to wrap a makeshift bandage around her injured paw. The pack watched from a distance, their howls fading into silence as if they understood. After the she-wolf was tended to, Myries returned to the bus, Tanya by his side. The passengers were still in shock, but the tension had dissipated.